It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Seneca. What if I told you that the reason some people chase after you, value your presence, and fear losing you, isn't because you beg for attention, explain yourself endlessly, or try too hard to be liked? It's because you understand a timeless truth that most people overlook. Real influence and respect come from restraint, self-mastery, and an unwavering sense of inner worth. Imagine this. You walk into a room and people naturally gravitate toward you, not out of obligation, but because they sense that your presence is rare, valuable, and not to be taken for granted. That magnetic pull, it's not luck, it's strategy. And the best part is, it's completely learnable. In this video, we're diving deep into Stoic strategies that will make people fear losing you, not through manipulation, but through cultivating power, dignity, and silent confidence. Every tip builds on centuries of wisdom that the great Stoics like and Epictetus practiced daily. Watch till the very end, because the final principle is the one that will transform the way people perceive you forever. Miss it, and you miss the ultimate advantage. Number 1, cultivate self-sufficiency and emotional independence. If you want anyone to truly fear losing you, the first and most powerful step is to become unshakably self-sufficient. This isn't about shutting people out or becoming cold. It's about building an internal fortress of independence that makes you unmovable, confident, and magnetic. As Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You need to start seeing yourself as the primary source of your own fulfillment, not the whims of others. You have to be the one who can walk through life unbothered by disappointment, unshaken by rejection, and unthreatened by the absence of approval. This is the essence of emotional independence, and it is what makes people recognize your value without you ever having to beg or plead for it. Begin by examining where you currently lean on others for your happiness. Maybe it's a text that hasn't been returned, a like on social media, or someone's opinion that sneaks into your confidence. Whatever it is, start to wean yourself off the need for external validation. Every time you notice a surge of anxiety or longing because of someone else's behavior, pause, breathe, and consciously tell yourself, I am enough. I don't need this to feel complete. Over time, this simple, repeated action rewires your mind. You're training yourself to find satisfaction within, to meet your own needs first. Reminded us, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Let that sink in. Your power doesn't come from anyone else. It comes from mastering your own thoughts, your own emotions. Next, actively cultivate habits that reinforce your independence. Set aside time each day to do something solely for yourself. Read, write, meditate, exercise, whatever nourishes your mind and body without needing anyone else to approve. Push yourself to enjoy solitude. When you feel the urge to seek out company or reassurance, pause and ask yourself, can I be content right here, right now, without leaning on someone else? Train your mind to thrive in your own presence. Emotional independence isn't a state you wake up in. It's a muscle you grow by practicing consistently. Another powerful exercise is journaling. At the end of each day, write down moments where you felt compelled to rely on someone else for emotional support. Then, reflect on how you could have handled it differently by turning inward instead of outward. Over weeks, this builds an unbreakable sense of self-reliance. It's one thing to know intellectually that you are enough, but it's entirely another to feel it in your bones, to instinctively respond to any emotional tug with calmness rather than neediness. And don't confuse this with arrogance or detachment. True self-sufficiency comes from strength and security, not fear or defensiveness. You're not becoming cold, you're becoming unshakable. People notice that. They sense when someone carries themselves with quiet confidence, unbothered by the approval of others. They sense when someone knows their worth without having to hear it from outside voices. That is magnetic. That is what makes someone fear losing you, not because you're demanding or threatening, but because your presence is undeniable, steady, and whole. Finally, remember that self-sufficiency is ongoing. Every day presents a new opportunity to lean on yourself a little more, to detach from outcomes, and to center your emotional life internally. Meditate on your responses, reflect on your triggers, and gradually, almost imperceptibly, your independence will grow. You will start noticing that the more you rely on yourself, the more others respect, value, and even fear losing you, not because of manipulation, but because you embody a rare, serene strength that can't be borrowed or broken. Number 2, master the art of selective attention and scarcity. You need to understand this. Your attention is a currency, and how you spend it determines the value others place on you. The moment you scatter your focus too widely or give your energy freely without thought, you lose the power that comes from deliberate presence. Once reminded himself, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will gladly change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed." Here's the quiet wisdom in that. Focus on what matters, ignore the noise, and you instantly become scarce in a way that commands attention. You can't be everywhere all the time for everyone. That's not just exhausting, it's invisible. Instead, you want to cultivate the magnetic effect of selective presence. People don't fear losing someone they always have. They fear losing someone rare, someone who holds their time and energy with intention. Start noticing where you scatter your attention. Right now, look at how much of it drifts toward endless notifications, superficial conversations, or trying to impress people who don't actually value you. Every time you give away your presence cheaply, you chip away at your own weight. This is where the Stoics would say you're surrendering what truly matters: your agency, your serenity, your sense of self. Begin to practice small exercises of intentional withdrawal. Turn off your phone for an hour. Step back from a group conversation and listen without reacting. Let your absence be felt, not in a dramatic way, but in the quiet, undeniable way your energy is missed when it's not around. Scarcity isn't manipulation, it's alignment. It's valuing yourself enough that others can feel what it's like when you're not available, when your focus is elsewhere, when your attention is earned, not assumed. Now pair this with a relentless discipline of where your attention actually lands. You want to direct it toward things, ideas, and people that grow you, challenge you, and raise your presence. Every interaction you choose to engage with should feel like a conscious deposit of your time and energy. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Think of your focus the same way. It is finite, precious, and when invested wisely, it makes others recognize that losing you would leave a gap they cannot fill. You are not just another voice. They notice when you speak, when you act, when you simply exist. This is power in its quietest, most stoic form. Practical action is simple but requires consistency. Each morning, decide on 3 things that demand your attention and energy and let everything else drift by. Refuse the pull of trivial demands. Watch how your availability becomes a silent statement. Then once a week, practice complete unavailability for a set period. No messages, no social media, no reaching out first. Just your presence reserved for moments that actually matter. Feel the subtle shift in how people respond. Scarcity is like gravity, invisible, undeniable, shaping interactions without a word. Remember, this isn't about arrogance or distance. It's about cultivating a life of intention where your attention is the measure of your value. Every action you take with selectivity and calm focus tells others without speaking that your time is precious. That is how fear of losing you grows, not through threats, not through control, but through the quiet, consistent mastery of attention and presence. When you start seeing the world this way, you realize you hold more influence than you ever imagined, simply because you know how to be seen, heard, and missed exactly when it counts. Number 3, set clear boundaries and enforce them consistently. If you truly want anyone to fear losing you, it starts with a simple truth. You have to respect yourself more than anyone else does. And that begins with setting boundaries. Not half-heartedly, not occasionally, but clearly, consistently, and without hesitation. Boundaries aren't walls to shut people out. They're lines you draw around your energy, your time, your attention, and your dignity. Think of them as a declaration of self-respect. You are worth more than chaos, manipulation, or constant compromise. When you start honoring your limits, others can't help but notice. They sense your value because you treat it as non-negotiable. As once said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Boundaries are the practical extension of that power. Now, setting a boundary is one thing, enforcing it is another. It's not enough to simply say what you won't tolerate. You have to follow through every single time. Every no you speak, every line you draw is like planting a flag in your own territory. If you let them be crossed even once, the message becomes murky. You're negotiable, and negotiable people are forgettable. You have to treat your boundaries like sacred agreements with yourself. Start small if you need to. Pick one thing you usually let slide. Maybe it's constantly answering texts at all hours or allowing people to speak over you, and commit to saying no or stepping back. Feel that tension, that nervousness that comes with asserting yourself. That's good. Lean into it. That's growth. Here's an exercise you can do to sharpen this skill. Take a piece of paper and write down every area in your life where you feel drained, overlooked, or taken for granted. Don't overthink it, just jot. Then, for each item, write the boundary that protects your energy. Be specific. If it's about time, write exactly how much time you will allow and when. If it's about respect, write exactly how you expect to be spoken to. Now comes the hard part. Start living it. Every time someone crosses that line, pause, take a breath, respond calmly but firmly. No excuses, no pleading, no over-explaining. The Stoics were masters of this. Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Your more is your dignity, your peace, your self-respect. Guard it jealously. Consistency is the secret sauce. People won't fear losing you after one stand. They need to see over time that your boundaries are as fixed as the stars. They need to experience the subtle, unshakable confidence that comes from someone who doesn't bend, barter, or beg. You will notice a shift not because you've shouted louder, but because you've stood still, firm, unflinching. It's quiet, but it commands. There's power in calm insistence. Think of your boundaries like a rhythm. They create a pattern, and people intuitively respect patterns that show discipline, self-respect, and reliability. Another exercise, at the end of each day, reflect. Ask yourself where you held firm and where you gave in. Write it down. Celebrate the victories and learn from the moments you faltered. Adjust tomorrow. Stoicism is not about perfection. It's about practice, patience, and presence. Every boundary you assert is a message to the world. You are not disposable, you are not negotiable, and the energy you bring into any interaction is yours alone to control. The more you live by this, the more others will feel your absence when you step away. And that, in itself, is the essence of being someone worth fearing to lose. Number 4, demonstrate unwavering confidence and calm. You want people to feel your presence, not just notice it. You want them to sense that losing you isn't an option. And the first step to creating that kind of respect, that magnetic pull, is to demonstrate unwavering confidence and calm. This isn't about arrogance, boasting, or pretending you're untouchable. It's about cultivating a quiet, unshakable inner fortress. a presence that radiates control over your own mind, your own emotions, your own reactions. Said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That's the essence of what you're building. Every interaction, every conversation, every silence is an opportunity to show that strength. People notice it even when you don't speak a word. Your energy, your demeanor, your unflinching calm in the face of chaos, it all speaks louder than any argument, any attempt at persuasion. Start by recognizing how easily people give their power away and how often you might have done the same. When someone challenges you, do you panic or lash out? Do you try to please, to beg for approval, to prove your worth? That's where you lose them. Confidence isn't loud, it's steady. It's the slow burn that says, I know my value, I don't need to scream it. You can practice this every day. Begin with your posture. Stand tall, shoulders relaxed, chest open, and take control of your breathing. Inhale deeply, hold, and exhale slowly. Feel your heartbeat. Feel your presence. Feel yourself owning the space you occupy. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but simplicity is where power hides. The more you internalize this calm, the more others unconsciously respect it. Next, train your mind to observe rather than react. The Stoics mastered this. Seneca reminded us that it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. You waste influence, respect, and opportunity when you react emotionally. Practice pausing. Before you respond, count to 3. Let your words carry weight, not haste. Speak when your mind is clear, not when your ego is inflamed. In conversation, let others reveal themselves, let them chase validation. You remain grounded, composed, unhurried. You become the constant in a world of volatility. Adopt habits that reinforce this calm. Meditate daily, not for hours, even 5 minutes is enough. Visualize situations where people test your patience or challenge your authority, and see yourself responding with serene confidence. Journal your thoughts, not to vent, but to understand the patterns of your reactions. Recognize where insecurity creeps in, and deliberately replace it with the awareness of your own worth. Exercise your body, because the discipline of physical training translates to mental resilience. Each drop of sweat, each disciplined repetition, is a small act of mastery over yourself. Remember, demonstrating unwavering confidence and calm is contagious. When you act from that place, people start to rely on it, to mirror it, and eventually to fear what it would mean if you were no longer there. But do this not to manipulate. They sense inauthenticity immediately. Do this because it is who you are. Cultivate habits that make your presence feel irreplaceable, and people will start to see you not as someone to take for granted, but as someone whose absence would leave a void. You are not performing, you are being. You are a force of nature in the quietest, most deliberate way. So start today. Stand a little taller, speak a little slower, breathe a little deeper. Notice when your reactions betray haste or insecurity, correct them, return to calm, return to your center. As Epictetus said, no man is free who is not master of himself. Master yourself and the world will follow suit. Confidence isn't built in a day, it is a lifelong practice, but every step you take toward calm mastery makes you someone impossible to forget, someone impossible to replace, someone worth keeping. Number 5, make your presence valuable and memorable. You want people to value your presence, not just notice it. You want to become someone whose absence is felt and whose presence is cherished. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you deliberately cultivate a life that radiates significance, calm confidence, and undeniable worth. The Stoics understood this intuitively. Once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Stop thinking about how others see you and start becoming the person whose presence itself is enough to command attention and respect. You need to fill your life with depth, integrity, and consistency, so when people interact with you, they feel the impact long after you've left the room. This isn't about performing or impressing. It's about being so grounded in your principles and values that your energy is magnetic. People fear losing those who consistently bring clarity, calm, and strength into their lives. You can start small. Practice being fully present when someone is speaking. Stop planning your response in your head. Stop scrolling on your phone. Instead, really listen, really observe, really engage. It's simple, yet transformative. People may not articulate it, but they notice when someone makes them feel truly seen. That alone makes your presence memorable. Next, focus on how you carry yourself in silence, in stillness, and even in conflict. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your presence becomes valuable when it's a source of calm, a steady anchor in the chaos of daily life. When you can walk into a room and radiate composure without saying a word, people naturally gravitate toward you. It's about mastering yourself first, your moods, your reactions, your impulses, so that when others interact with you, they feel stability, wisdom, and integrity. That's magnetic. Another layer is contribution. Think about how you can consistently add value in ways that matter. Not flashy gestures, not empty praise, not superficial favors. Real value is subtle, steady, and meaningful. Share insights, offer clarity, ask questions that provoke thought, or simply show unwavering support. When your input leaves a positive mark, you start to be associated with growth, with insight, with something worth holding onto. This isn't about manipulation. It's about cultivating the habit of being someone who elevates their environment naturally. Practical exercises can make this habitual. Take 5 minutes each day to reflect on how you influence someone today. Did you make them think? Did you calm their anxiety? Did you challenge them to grow? If the answer is no, set a small goal for tomorrow. Perhaps it's offering a genuine compliment or providing guidance that isn't sought but needed. Or maybe it's simply listening without judgment. These little actions accumulate into a presence people remember. Finally, honor your own time and energy. The Stoics believed in knowing what is truly within your control and treating it with reverence. Protect your focus. Prioritize your passions. Pursue your principles relentlessly. People begin to fear losing you not because you demand attention, but because you live a life that cannot be replicated, a life of purpose and self-respect. When you show that you are not desperate for validation, when you demonstrate that your attention, care, and energy are selective, your presence becomes precious by default. Start today. Be deliberate. Be consistent. Observe how your interactions shift when you carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their own worth. Be the person whose presence is a gift, whose absence leaves a noticeable silence. Practice listening, reacting with composure, and contributing meaningfully. Soon, people won't just notice you, they'll fear the idea of losing you. As once said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Now that you've seen the Stoic strategy to make anyone fear losing you, the real power is in action. Remember, it's not about manipulation. It's about embodying value, presence, and unshakable confidence. If you implement just one of these strategies consistently, you'll notice the shift in how people perceive and respect you. Imagine the impact when your presence alone commands attention and appreciation. That's the power of Stoic wisdom in modern life. So here's your challenge. Pick one principle from today's video and apply it starting today. Watch how people start valuing you in ways they never did before. If you found this video valuable, don't just scroll. Hit that like button, subscribe for more life-changing insights, and comment below which strategy you're starting with. Your journey to being someone they can't afford to lose starts now.